April the 19th, 2024. Guys, I think this is important information for a lot of reasons. And on some of it, just try to read between the lines. I think most of you can understand why I'm saying that. But this came out yesterday, and what was happening is Chris Wray, the FBI director, was at a summit on modern conflict and emerging threats hosted by Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee. He said at the security conference on Thursday that China's legion of state-sponsored hackers considers every sector that makes our society run as fair game in its bid to dominate on the world stage. Now, they're saying that they have entrenched so deeply into our infrastructure for so long, going back to at least 2011, that they can control anything at any time, but they seem to be waiting for a specific moment. And when we're talking about infrastructure, we're talking about electricity, phone communications, water, gas, just the list goes on, right? The ability to do banking, when the internet goes down, things like that. So put yourself in this scenario for just a moment. Open your eyes. And many of you have seen movies. I can't name any of them, but I've seen several over the last 20 years of people waking up in subdivision somewhere, and there's some kind of big event had happened. EMP, nuclear bomb, or biological event, and everything is dead. They're walking out into the streets looking at each other. None of your phones won't be working. You have no electricity, no water, no gas, nothing. And wondering what's going on. You can't call 911, you can't do anything. You can't get any money out of the ATMs. If you have food in your pantries, that's what you have. But imagine that scenario, and they're saying that they could do it any time they want to. Now, again, our FBI is warning of this. At the same time, China is saying that it's not the Chinese military political system that's doing it. It's a separate Chinese rogue hacking group. I think they're called Volt Tycoon or something like that. We'll read about it. Just stay here. But China is denying that they have anything to do with it as far as the government, again, military. Now, they're blaming the U.S. for blaming them as a setup. And that's in most of this information here. So we've got a conflict going on really what is going on. You know, there's always Trojan horses, if you understand what I'm saying. He said that, again, Ray said China's plan is to land low blows against civilian infrastructure to try to induce panic and break America's will to resist. I wonder if any father and son companies will have to give money back. I'm just wondering, you know. The FBI director was speaking at a security conference again in Nashville. 2024 edition of the summit was focused on challenges China poses to the U.S., ranging from China's dominance of critical supply chains to the fentanyl epidemic and cyber war. Multi-pronged attack. Ray called the audience's attention to Volt Typhoon, the massive hacking operation linked to the People's Republic of China. It penetrated an alarming number of critical infrastructure systems in the U.S., including water, power, oil, and transportation. It goes much deeper than that, guys. Every home that has this smart technology, that's all been compromised. Probably most of it was designed in China, right? So that's all a internal spy network on you. But a lot of people will say, well, they will not take all of the internet down because that they will lose part of their ability to spy on folks, right? Whoever it is, China, whoever. But they may have ways around it where it will be cryptic. In other words, you'll have to have a code to use it, so they can still use it bring in information, you just won't be able to know about it. This is important. Let's go back to what I said a while ago. Imagine the scenario. You wake up, everything's turned off. Your water, gas, electricity, your cell phones. And if you got some of these new electric vehicles, they probably will. But think about that, guys. We're being warned right here. This is today. The meeting was yesterday. The information is coming out today, but we're being warned and told that this event is about to happen. Have you prepared yourself? Even the smallest solar systems can help you at least power up a CB radio, fan, TV, but it's not as expensive as it used to be, and you can power up some air conditioning and other things. It's not as expensive as a gasoline generator, I can tell you that, to get some major help in your home. But you need water, food, and a way to communicate, and a way to protect yourself. But that scenario is upon us. It said Volt Typhoon, again, was detected and exposed by Microsoft technicians. It said Ray noted that the China-sponsored hackers were pre-positioned for potential cyber attacks against U.S. oil and natural gas companies way back in 2011. Many administrations ago. Way before what's his name came on the scene. When one victim company set up a honeypot, essentially a trap designed to look like a legitimate part of a computer network with decoy documents, it took the hackers all of 15 minutes to steal the data related to the control and monitoring systems. What they can do is, even if you go in and change your passwords and all that administration, they have already opened their back door. No matter what you do on the front end, they are there. And this goes to construction machines, huge equipment, cranes and everything that has electronic communication in them that was made in China, that has been intentionally hacked. The Volt Typhoon, they're saying, is a menacing example of hacking technique known as living off the land, in which the hackers penetrate systems, deposit malware payloads, and then conceal their presence by exploiting and imitating normal system functions. They can sit there for years until someone tells them to push the button. Think about this. There's a big conflict about Taiwan because of the semiconductors, right? China wants it. The U.S. does not want the semiconductors completely under Chinese rule. Understandable on both sides. What they both should do is leave Taiwan alone and let them make chips and ship to everybody that has the money to buy them. But no, greed and stupidity is the ruling factor. Guys, someone, if you can, I don't remember the Old Testament verse, but in the end times we would be ruled by babes, mental babes. We know we're seeing it here. Is it worldwide? Is it an epidemic that is worldwide? According to the Bible, that's exactly what's happening. Now, these living off the land hackers are usually motivated to steal, vandalize, or hijack a system fairly soon after they gain entry. That's not the art of war. That may be what we're seeing part of in the Middle East for this tick for tack going back and forth. But it said fairly soon after they gain entry. That's the normal procedure. Worried that their presence could be detected or their access to the system might be cut. They are typically eager to steal data for fun or profit. But as Ray explained at the Vanderbilt seminar, the major reason a group of highly skilled and coordinated hackers would lurk in the system for years is because they are planning massive acts of sabotage, waiting for their government handlers to tell them when the time is right to strike. Ray said the Chinese Communist Party is driven by aspirations to wealth and power. I think that fits every world government, which it hopes to realize by seizing control of economic development in the areas most critical to tomorrow's economy. That's every nation. There's a big mass surge of greed for money and power. It said other speakers at the seminar highlighted Volt Typhoon as a new and dangerous type of cyber war menace, including General Timothy Hall, head of the National Security Agency, NSA, and U.S. Cyber Command. He said, what you see in Volt Typhoon is an example of how China has approached establishing access to put things under threat. There's not a valid intelligence reason to be looking at water treatment plant for cyber perspective, he said, but what they're talking about is shutting it down, controlling the chemical inputs, whatever. Hall warned that Volt Typhoon sent a pretty loud signal about how China plans to use cyberspace in a crisis, such as confrontation with the U.S. over Taiwan. He strongly recommended listening to that signal. So, if reading between the lines on that, maybe you agree, maybe you don't, would be that the general is saying every time the U.S. says something to China about back off of Taiwan, we see the power go out in a bunch of places, or 911 calls go out. China makes a little call to the big guy, or the 10% or whatever, and they get that cleared up, just like it's been going on for a long time. China is pursuing a deliberate campaign to gain advantage in every aspect of national power. Remember the series I just linked up, guys, about the Great Comet? China was about to dominate the world. Well, a lot of times they would use spies. They didn't just have to move in without an announcement as far as their heavy Navy groups. They already had people in place. People that had already sold out that group, whatever nation it was back in this 1400s. They had people in place. Do you hear what I'm saying? He said Ray pointed to a crisis between China and Taiwan as the kind of scenario where China would activate its lurking cyber war assets. He predicted the crisis could arrive by 2027. Guys, I'm worried about the election. Let's just say watch 2024 also. A timetable that would explain why China is stepping up its cyber intrusions and criminal activity, seemingly without concern that its hackers might get caught. The fact is, the PRC's targeting of our critical infrastructure is both broad and unrelenting. Again, China's saying that they're not affiliated with that group. The U.S. is using that as an excuse to blame them. Who knows what's behind it? We will never know the full extent of the truth. My point of the video is we need to be prepared for these systems to go down. We're watching it, guys. Go to bpearthwatch.com. See if you got water filtration. We have the #1 on the planet, #1 survival food, and the best solar equipment. This is not an advertisement about that, but we do have it, and you're going to need it. And we have vetted all of these people for over a dozen years that we deal with. Check it out. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.